Good day, everyone. Today we will discuss about the DepEd Order number 31 series of 2020. So DepEd official guidelines for assessment under the new normal has been already released. So they call this one DepEd Order number 31 series of 2020, and it's entitled the Interim Guidelines for Assessment and Grading in the Light of the Basic Education Learning Continually Plan. So this memorandum was dated back October 2 series of 2020, and today we are going to have a very detailed discussion as to the main guidelines as to the issue. So all teachers will be able to grasp how assessment will be done under the new normal and what are the most important changes, what are the principles, what are the different contents as to our discussion. So this is the content topics of the DepEd Order number 31 series of 2020. First of all, we're going to talk about the rationale of interim guidelines for assessment under DepEd Order number 31 series of 2020. So the rationale, so as we all know, this issue one is a means to adapt the implementation of the alternative learning modalities. So we are doing this to adapt and to ensure that learners achieve the essential curricular goals. So as we all know, we are in pandemic. This call for creative and innovative ways of designing optimal learning experiences in assessing the learning process. So the principle adhered by DepEd Order number 8 series of 2015 still holds through. So let's not forget about the Order 8 is still in effect. However, there might be some changes as to a specific one as that we will be discussing today. So just be aware that some of the guidelines are currently being changed, but all the others are still in force. So it should be used to inform and improve classroom practices as well as promote learning outcomes. So the principle that has been advocacy of DepEd Order 8 still holds true, that assessment should be used to inform and improve our classroom practices. So remember, assessment is something feedback tool that help us adjust the way we teach and the way we help our learners so as to really make our instruction more inclusive and open to all, and then under distance and blended learning. So we should utilize alternative tools without creating under pressure on teachers, learners, and their families. So basically, one of our observation is that under this DepEd order, we see that it has really provided us with a lot of samples and tools that we can use, especially in terms of rubrics. So the principle here is that we should utilize these tools without as much as possible creating undue pressure to learners and their families, and also including the teachers. So I think this is one of the reasons why the DepEd order really took a little while to be released. However, it now released, and it's very timely for the opening of the classes. So we should aware of the guidelines of this DepEd order. DepEd order is currently the law. We can see her exact words given by the DepEd order. So remember that these steps and order cover the whole Philippines because this is an DepEd order. So this issuance covers all public elementary, secondary schools, and let us just emphasize that private school, technical and vocational institutions, and higher education institutions, including state and local university and colleges who are offering K-12 basic education programs, are encouraged to implement this interim policy guidelines. And remember, private school and institutions are permitted they free to modify these policy guidelines in accordance to their philosophy, vision, mission with approval as long as there is approval from their respective DepEd regional offices. We proceed to the definition of terms. These are just few of the important terms that we need to consider as well as we study this DepEd order. So first of all, what is classroom assessment? So take note that this is an ongoing process of identifying, gathering, organizing, and interpreting quantitative and qualitative information about what learners know and can do so. So let's emphasize the word in ongoing process. Meanings, as you do your instruction, it should be ongoing process of feedback, a form of feedback mechanism for you to create insights as to what the learners know and what they can do at the same time. This is a means for us to really improve our instruction and at the same time for the learners side to improve the way they are learning. Alright, so we're going to the formative assessment. Another term that we need to learn is a process that involves teachers using evidence about what learners know and can do to inform and improve their teaching. So this process to the teachers' immediate feedback enables to students to take responsibility of their own learning and identify areas where they do not and identify areas where they do well and where they need help. So formative assessment is a way for them self-reflect. So this is a form of improving independent learning, helping them see if they are really learn or not as of the moment. So we also have what you call summative assessment. So if formative assessment is just for the sake of feedback, summative assessment is for the sake of judgment and our way of really learning if the child absorbing or mastering the essential learning competence that we have provided to them. So this is assessment that is usually administered towards the end. The fourth one is the grading. The grading is the way of reporting assessment data by assigning value to the result as a record of students' ability, achievements, or progress. We always do grading. So now we're going to proceed to the policy guidelines or principles. So the Department of Education is committed in ensuring the continuity of education while looking for other healthy safety and well-being of all. So it's for all the learners, teachers, and the personnel. So schools must adopt assessment and grading practices that can must meaningful support students' development to respond to varied contexts. So at this time, this has been emphasized under these policy principles that schools must actually adopt and be able to consider the different contexts, especially right now that we are experiencing this pandemic. One of the basic principle that we need to consider, we have the following. So principles, we need to aware that whatever us do without assessment should be holistic and authentic in capturing the attainment of the most essential learning competencies. So teacher designing the assessment to allow for flexibility in multiple modalities, communicating to learners and parents or guardians the design and standards for reading the assessment, setting up mechanisms to monitor and record progress remotely, so facilitating remediation for learners who needs further guidance. So in learners are expected to be proactive in updating their teachers of their situation, progress and challenges encountered. A non-mandatory self-monitoring tool may be accomplished independently or with the assistance of their parent or guardian if necessary. It is not required to accomplish the self-monitoring tool, but its usage is highly recommended to keep track of learners' academic process. So in parents and guardians also, DepEd aims to develop independent learners who can study on the assessment on their own. However, in this school year's implementation of distance learning, parents and guardians play a crucial role in guiding their children in adapting to changes of distance learning process, thus only when necessary. So parents and guardians are requested to assist in the assessment process by communicating with the teacher to give updates on their child's situation, progress, and challenges encountered, guiding their children in accomplishing the assessment tasks and or monitoring tools designed by teacher. Now we're going to proceed the planning the assessment. So teachers need to be creative and flexible in assessing student learning while still adhering to the principles of quality assessment practice. With safety, health, and well-being foremost in mind, assessment decision must be made in the best interest of all learners. So align with the most essential learning competencies. So learning competencies are reliable, valid, and transparent, and also are fair, inclusive, and equitable. Practical management for both learners and teachers. Give learners a range of ways to demonstrate their learning and provide timely and accurate information as basis for feedback. So in summative assessment, written works shall be administered to assess essential knowledge and understanding through quizzes and long or unit tests of the learners. So items should be distributed across the cognitive process dimension using a combination of select responses and constructed response format so that all are adequately covered. So in performance tasks refer to assessment tasks that allow teachers to show what they know are able to do in diverse ways. So they may create or innovative products or do performance-based tasks including skills demonstration, group presentation, oral work, multimedia presentation, and research project. So in summative assessment also in performance task, each task must be accompanied with clear directions and appropriate scoring tools like checklist, rubrics, reading skills, etc. to help learners demonstrate their learning. Teachers are advised to collaboratively design and implement performance tasks that integrate two or more competencies within or across subject areas. So complex tasks may be broken down into shorter tasks to be complete over a longer period of time. So learners must be given flexibility in the accomplishment of the performance tasks to consider time and resources available to them. So nonetheless, all learners should be assessed on the same competencies using the same scoring tool. So now in communicating the assessment task, the teacher must consult the learners and, when necessary, parents or guardians to allow room for adjustment or flexibilities needed if any. So now we are in record of progress. The collection and recording of evidences of learning is integral for monitoring student learning and development. So in feedback and remediation, to benefit student learning, both formative and summative assessment must be accompanied with timely, constructive, and meaningful feedback based on the learner's record of progress. discuss also the grading and promotion. The challenges brought to light by the coronavirus pandemic, especially the implementation of different distance learning modalities, have sparked a larger conversation about the role grades play in student learning, prompting education sectors to rethink traditional grading schemes. So the grading system implemented in this policy provides reasonable leniency to learners who are put to large disadvantage by the pandemic, but at the same time does not compromise the integrity and principle of assessment and also the grading. So, in the role of technology, technology plays a substantial role in helping teachers in the development, communication, implementation, and grading assessment tasks. So, now in monitoring and evaluation. At the school level, the implementation if this policy shall be monitored and evaluated at least once every quarter by the school heads. So the school head shall prepare quarterly reports that includes the challenges and issues encountered throughout the policy implementation. So the said report shall be submitted to the school division office for collation and analysis. That's all. Thank you.